Tell us about the book then. How have you come to write it, and a bit more about what it's about?
OK, well, the book basically is about Manchester United's club captains, and I say club captains, not just captains, since the war, since Matt Busby took over and forward. It's a look at the kind of people that the managers have picked to lead the team. We're talking about the biggest, greatest team in the world. And what kind of man do you pick to lead those kind of players? Obviously, from when I started, it was Martin Buchan. And then we've had great leaders such as Robson and Keane and Cantona. But I wanted to go all the way back to people like Johnny Carey and Alan Chilton, who'd gone through a world war and returned to find a completely new manager, a track-suited manager in Matt Busby, a new style of playing football, and then the Babes were brought through, and we had Roger Byrne who captained them, and I wanted to look at what kind of men were these kind of people who could lead such players.
There must be some great anecdotes that come out of that as well, especially delving so far past and obviously before the Munich air disaster and so on.
Well, for instance, you've got Alan Chilton, who I don't know many people know, we bought from Liverpool. And played his first game for Manchester United and then didn't play his second game for Manchester United for another 6 years.
Right.
This was due to the fact that he played against Charlton Athletic, and the very next day war was declared, and so there was a 6-year gap. So it was 6 years until he got to play a second game for Manchester United.
Well, that's incredible. I mean, you've got a link as well, haven't you, to the Munich air disaster?
Yeah. My uncle was Don Davis, who a reporter for the Manchester Guardian, who died in the Munich air crash. He used to go under the pen name of Old International. And so the family has a link, and with this, I've attended quite a lot of things at Manchester United to do with Munich. So it's quite a sad week for me this week due to the funeral of Albert Scanlon.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Which
takes place on Wednesday, and as people who knew him, Albert was a great character. He lived in Salford. He was a left winger for the club who. And really, he'd only just got into the first team just before the air crash. He'd taken over from David Pegg, and he had a great. The final game before United flew out to Munich was against Arsenal. It was a thriller. It ended 5-4, and Albert had a fabulous game, and he'd got his place in the team. And obviously, with the air crash, Albert got a fractured skull, and he broke his leg. And when they were actually looking for survivors, the Germans out there actually left him for dead. Right. But they went back and they realised he was alive, and he came back and played. Unfortunately, things didn't go too well for Albert, and he moved on to Newcastle, and he hit bad times, but still, up until the end, a lovely, lovely man and a great character.
OK, going back to sort of the theme of the book then, who do you think's been the best captain that United have had that you've been covering?
I think it's a generational game. People will say, some people who are old enough will say Johnny Carey. Obviously, anybody who's lucky enough to see them will say Roger Byrne. For myself, I would have to go with Brian Robson. Okay. Watching Manchester United in the 80s, if Brian Robson was playing, you always felt safe. You always felt we could achieve anything with Robson. I just wish he'd had better players to play with at the time he was playing. OK, and that brings us even more up to date now then. Obviously, Brian Robson's still involved with the club in some form. The finances has been sort of a big thing today, of course, with the figures being announced, but also the form recently as well, because United haven't been in the best of form, shall we say. What's been your sort of take on that? Well, I think with the finances, I think realistically everybody realises that we have a massive debt to pay, and the sale of Cristiano Ronaldo, the best player in the world, for £80 million, and the lack of spending in the summer just goes to prove the point that we're quite a lot of trouble financially, but I have every faith in Alex. I'm sure he knows exactly what he's doing, and he'll lead us on to victory. OK, well, good luck with the book. I know you're still writing it, so we can look forward to that being released a little bit later on, and thanks for coming in today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.